Hello everyone, Kurt Klein here with Hallmark University, teaching out of Don Iacobucci's Marketing Management 5th edition for BUS5332, same name, Marketing Management. And today we're going to go over Chapter 4, Targeting. So remember in the beginning of Chapter 1 we talked about the STP, segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Today is Chapter 4, Targeting. So when we look at that framework, how to choose the segments to target. Now that you've broken everybody up into your appropriate data sets and you've got everything that you need, how do we target those segments and how to size up the market, right? So, first discussion question is, which segment does Mountain Dew target? That's a good question, right? There's some awesome documentaries done on Mountain Dew, and who do they target? So it's out there that Mountain Dew has more caffeine and more sugar than most drinks. And when you look at that and you get out ahead of that and you start reading the nutrition facts label, you're going to find that's not true. So which segment does Mountain Dew target? We might say the gullible folks. I don't know. Why do you think it is pursuing this particular target? Chances are because they've got the urban legend out there that they've got more caffeine and more punch than the regular soda. They're probably doing it because it's profitable and easily actionable, right? So think about Mountain Dew. Where do you see it the most? What is targeting and why do it? Targeting is selecting one or more market segments to pursue. Why? It's hard to be all things to all people. That's why you've got to narrow your focus and get the biggest chunk you can with the resources that you have at hand. How to choose a target. Bottom-up profitability. How profitable will this segment be? Function of the current market size. Its anticipated growth. Current and anticipated levels of competition. Customer behavior and expectations, right? So how profitable will this segment be? Top-down, strategic fit. Does this market fit with who we are? Understand the firm's resources, strengths, weaknesses, brand personalities, etc. I run my own personal training wellness shop in New Braunfels, Texas. I've been doing it for about 5-6 years now. Been in the business overall for 25 years, and we take a strategic fit approach. We do focus on the profitability, but at 25 years in the industry, certain folks, certain problems, certain issues are, to me, identified as red flags. I don't want to work with those people. And it's because it's going to be more time than the compensation is for that time than it's worth, right? So strategic fit. Understanding my resources, my strengths, and my weaknesses for certain clientele, I may or may not accept them, right? So remember, we talked earlier in some of these lectures that you can't be everything to everyone. So strategic criteria for targeting, we've got go for it and avoid as our actionable quadrants, right? So if it plays to the corporate strengths and that particular market is attractive, we go for it. Market doesn't look so hot, but it happens to be one of our strengths. That's a, do we do that or not? Less capable. Market is super attractive. That's a, because it's not our strength. It's one of our less capable capacities. Market doesn't look so hot, and it's one of our weaknesses. Avoid it, right? So the go for it and avoid criteria are easy decisions. So how to choose a target? The are dilemma scenarios, right? So the video game market is attractive, but you have no strength in this market. If you're not a computer programmer or a game programmer, makes sense, right? Can you develop a strength in video games? How much will that cost, right? You might go to that code up place and see if you can't muscle up on your video game programming. Your strength is in thumb drives, but the market is unattractive. Right? That's another You have a strength, but the market isn't awesome. Is there any segment that sees value in thumb drives? Can we redesign the product to give it value? How much would that cost? Right? Can you get the thumb drives to look like not thumb drives. What would they look like? Gosh, think about that for a second. If they look like lightsabers, could you sell those maybe? Right? So think about that. Your strength is in thumb drives, but the market is unattractive. How do you get around it? SWOT, right? SWOT. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So when we look at that SWOT analysis, we go strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. So just above our strengths, we've got favorable. Above our weaknesses, we've got unfavorable. Off to the side of our strengths, over here, we've got our internal, corporate. Down at the opportunities, we've got our external environment, right? So the external environment is also unfavorable. Seems like a threat. It's favorable, but it's an external environmental thing. Could be an opportunity. So let's talk about that. Strengths and weaknesses are relative to competitors. They should include customers' perspectives. Requires some market research, right? Strategies. Leverage the firm's strengths. Improve or design around firm's weaknesses. You've heard the cliche, play to your strengths. You could develop your weaknesses too. My suggestion, play to your strengths awesomely, very profitably, and then backfill the weakness, right? Don't say, you know what, we're really good at this one thing. This is our awesome strength. We're just going to focus 100% of our time on our weaknesses. That spells bankruptcy, so you want to be careful with that. Master those strengths, get those being as profitable as humanly possible, and then backfill the weakness. So discussion question number 2. Assume you want to start your own business. What are your strengths and weaknesses? How might you leverage your strengths and address your weaknesses? So the business that we're building next is going to be a distillery. What are our strengths and weaknesses with the distillery? We are not industry insiders. Some people go, weakness might be a strength. We're thinking outside of the box. So far, all of our test runs say that we are ahead of the curve. Why? I just look at it differently. One of our strengths is that chemistry and baking are one of my strengths. And I have a background in engineering as well. So strength, yes. We won't need anybody else to work on our equipment. How might we leverage our strengths and address our weaknesses? Well, we're going to have to learn. That's how we're going to do it. In the meantime, we have to get a base product out there. The base product is created, and we're working on getting through all the legal aspects of it, right? So when you think about starting your own business, what are your strengths and weaknesses? And a lot of people come in, and when we started our wellness business, everybody said, Kurt, you're one of the best personal trainers we know. Great. I'm very honored that you think so. The problem is that in the personal training business, and I caution you for any type of consulting business, the problem with that, the challenge with starting your own business, what are your strengths and weaknesses? I am highly educated where personal training, kinesiological aspects are concerned. Corrective exercise is my forte. I've been doing it for 25 years. I've got a resume that's about 6 pages long in just that aspect. Great. How many hours are there in a week? 168. How many of those can I meet one-on-one? Do you see the problem? Great strength. 90% retention of my clientele. That's awesome. How many hours can I do it daily? That's why the distillery makes a better idea, makes better sense. It does not rely upon me to do all the work, right? It will up front once we get started. But as time goes by, somebody else will be running those things, right? So think about your strengths and weaknesses when going into your own business. That's where the business plans come into play. A lot of people say that it's not necessary. Lots of success stories happen in spite of business plans. When it hits the fan, and it will, what's your SWOT analysis say? What's your business plan say, right? So, SWOT. Opportunities and threats are usually driven by changes in one of the 5 C's. For example, the rise in internet access, growing Hispanic population in the United States, new competitors, new offerings from existing competitors, lack of competitors within a market, aging baby boomers. Do they need another new car? Right? Think about it. Companies typically assess their strengths relative to the competitors. Competitor 1 does really high, awesome quality. Competitor 3, they're awesome at the price, but their quality is middle of the road. Think it through. How do you compare to your competitors? My competitors within the distilling realm are really quite fascinating. So many have this handmade, handcrafted, etc., etc., etc. We're going to beat them with something we call intent. And we're going to advertise the intent. And that is going to be the secret to how we beat them, right? Competitive comparisons. Perceptual maps show customers' perceptions of firms' strengths, weaknesses relative to their competitors. In many product categories, price and quality are key. Quality is defined by the industry. So if the industry has quality here, you're probably going to want to come in here, right? Competitive comparisons question number 1. Which competitors do we dominate on price and quality? If we pursue a price-sensitive target, which competitor would be most challenging, right? If you're going to bring a new automobile to market, we might argue that Kia at this moment in time has some of the lower-priced automobiles, still very valuable, still very capable. Can you beat them on the quality, the fit, the finish, the performance, the reliability, and still have a lower price? Might be a tough bill, right? Let's see, competitive comparisons question number 2. Which segment would you pursue and why? Why are the largest segments less attractive to the firm, right? So this is a chart that we're looking at here. If you're going through on your PowerPoint, you want to take a look at that. The size, segment number 1, 1 million it looks like. Growth, 5%. Competitors, few. Fit, yes. Priority, high star, right? Segment number 2, 2 million it looks like. Growth, 3%. Competitors, one really big one. Fit, okay. Priority, kind of a question mark. That's one of those hmms, right? Segment number 3, another 1 million, 3% growth. Competitors, few. They're all weak. Fit, okay. Another, do we do it? Then there's the $2 million size, 1% growth, few or weak competitors. The fit isn't a fit. Priority doesn't exist, right? So why are the largest segments less attractive to the firm, and which segment would you pursue and why? Personally, I like the few competitors. You establish the culture of that particular vertical, right? You establish the quality and the demand, and the growth is the highest growth potential of all. Why would you go after that one? Great risk, great reward, right? Could also be great failure. Got to figure it out. These are tough questions. Some estimates are less firm than others, right? So when we think sizing markets considerations, give intervals and what-if scenarios. So each estimate should be as precise as possible. Lots of what-ifs. The more precisely defined the segment, the easier the numbers are to estimate. So anatomy of a market segment. When we look at it, we've got the picture of the American male, approximately 60% married. Not that he's 60% of males are married. U.S. population's 330,000. So men 35 to 55 is approximately 43 million in the U.S. population. I'm sorry, the U.S. population is 330 million. Men 35 to 55 is approximately 43 million, which is just around 14% of the population. So growing and peak earning years are 35 to 55. Watched by Tag Hour, Citizen, or Omega. Subscriptions to Sports Illustrated, Picks Up Esquire, GQ, Men's Health at the airport or online. DVRs and relaxes with Mythbusters, Handyman, Dexter, The Simpsons, Deadliest Catch, Infiniti sedan parked in the lot, right? Has a Chevy Silverado or a Ford F350 at home, but really wants a Corvette. Suit by Ralph Lauren, Diesel, Calvin Klein, or Gucci. And shoes by Hugo Boss, Kenneth Cole, or Nike. And we know our largest customer right now, males 35 to 55. What he's like, what he likes, and the media we can use to reach him, right? So that's the anatomy of a market segment. So concept in action, market sizing. How much advice can I sell? Use factfinder.census.gov to estimate. U.S. population, roughly 330 million. By age, 25 to 29 is 6.8%, 30 to 34, 6.5%. You get the idea. So market potential is 330 million people. If we're after a total of the 25 to 44 age range, we're looking at approximately 26% of that particular population, right? So when we distill it down further, looking at how much advice can I sell, we're looking at about 28,000 potential customers out of that 26% of the population. So out of nearly 90 million people, 28,000 are who we can talk to. You got to target it, right? So 28,000 is the market potential. Segments that refine total U.S. population, age 25 to 44, assume 26% of the total population. Professional careers, assume 18%. Professionals, local population, this is all for Las Vegas, assume 580,000 in Las Vegas. So concept in action. Is the market attractive? You can hit 28,000 of the 508,000. That's not 10%, right? It's about 5-ish percent. Might be a little bit less. So which numbers do you have the least confidence in? Is the market attractive? Depends, right? Can you mass market that 28,000? Can you mass market ROI perspective to the 580,000 to get to the 28,000? Think it through. So sensitivity analysis. Conduct sensitivity analysis on the harder to verify numbers. Increase and decrease the numbers and determine the impact on market size. This process will determine which numbers have the biggest impact. Conduct more research to ensure accuracy. The upper and lower bounds of the market, which will help with planning, might need to be cut out one way or the other. Let's see. Additional factors. Estimate growth. U.S. Census to determine size of additional cohorts. Obtain sales data from previous years and extrapolate using a moving average. A 3-year moving average would average years 1, 2, and 3, then average years 2, 3, 4, then average years 3, 4, 5, then fit a curve to the data regression, right? So what's the 3-year moving average? What's it look like? Will you be going up or down? Will you have more opportunity or less opportunity? Additional factors. Profitability. Profitability per customer likely depends on their segment. Quality of employees affect costs, right? If you've got folks with 2 left hands and they are breaking all the product in the meantime as they build it, it's going to cost. Additional factors. Competition. How fierce is the competition? Is there one firm or 30 firms? Does the one firm dominate the market? Search yellowpages.com for competitors. Google, probably. Might be a better one. If you've got a LexisNexis, might give you a better. Hoover's, DMB, better than yellowpages.com. But think it through, right? Concept in action, B2B market sizing. Census.gov cross-classifies businesses by sector. Ergo, the NAICS codes and size by sales or number of employees. Markets for some products or services might be limited only by imagination. Use the purchase decision making for market sizing. Use the purchase decision making process, awareness, trial, repeat, etc. Population times the percent that's aware times the percent that actually try it out equals times the percent that repeat. That's the decision making process, awareness, trial, repeat. multiply it by how much and how often they buy. So the population times the percent aware, times the percent that try it, times the percent that repeat it, times the per annum purchase. Multiply by the average retail price paid to translate numbers into money. Managerial recap here. So targeting is important but not difficult. Choose target by iterating between corporate fit, utilize SWOT to help clarify corporate fit, segment sizing, use secondary data like demographics, use customer survey data on attitudes and preferences, and use behavioral data to smooth out the size estimation, right? That's super important. Use the customer survey data on attitudes and preferences and use behavioral data to smooth out the size estimation. My suggestion, estimate lower than higher. You can always over-deliver with an under-promise. It's difficult to over-promise and over-deliver. All right. That's chapter 4. See you next time.